What is up, everybody? I'm Durell, the Whiskey Saint, and we are back on another Wednesday, guys. And we're just gonna keep it going. Last few weeks been kind of mixing it up a bit, but kind of want to just get back down to those blind pours, man. Got some fun games in a way. Blinded a few people recently. Maybe got something in the works. So kind of got to stay on my toes a bit and just kind of keep that palate, fresh and refined. So what we're gonna do is just dive into a box over here. I got over probably maybe about 30 or so samples left in that one. It's getting pretty empty, trying to work my way through that so I can dive into the rest of the blind samples that I got like scattered around this place, guys. But I know you guys seen probably a few of these already. I try to guess a couple things about the whiskey, pull one out, flash it to you guys, and kind of see if I can potentially headshot it, for those, or just pull out some stats and maybe be more so on the right than the wrong about it. But you need to like and subscribe. We're gonna kick this show off, guys. Cheers. Welcome back. Welcome back. Another fantastic Wednesday. And what better way to start the Wednesday off other than by kicking off with a blind? Let's do it, guys. We got samples here. You guys know this box already. Not going to talk too much about it, but there are some samples there you can see, and you could tell I pull randomly because there's like one up here, one missing here. We're going to go, let's say, this one here. Hopefully, I'm going to make sure it feels full, which that doesn't actually feel full. So let's move to the next one. I think that does. Kind of feels full. So I want to make sure there's a label. Last time I do remember holding this up to the camera and not kind of like flashing it around the whole way so you can see it. So we're going to move this here, and we're not going to cheat, guys. Doesn't look like there's anything on the back. So I'm just going to rotate this a bit. Hopefully you can see it. Turn it this way. Turn it that way. Just make sure it's in the front. I can't see, so I'm hoping that it's right in front of the camera. If you don't see it, I guess you're going to be going through it blind just like me. But let's pour this up. See if I can potentially guess a couple things on it. Got this Glen here. Let's do it. Oh, man. I caught a whiff of something before I even poured this. And I'm not sure, guys. Like this, I'm going to throw in my Whiskey Nose Glen so I don't see what it is. I'm going to place it down to the side. And the first whiff I got was kind of like this just big rye note or something. It didn't come across as a bourbon by any means. And I haven't even took a full sip. So cheers to you all. We're going to go on this. Oh, okay. That's not what I was expecting. I actually thought I was going to get like this huge rye kick, but that kind of came across like with some age. I don't know if it's a rye immediately. Nor do I know if it's a bourbon. That's kind of funny. Normally you can kind of pinpoint one of them on the nose. Yeah, this is throwing me kind of for a loop. I honestly don't know if it's a rye or a bourbon, guys. Let's go in for a taste. I should be able to hopefully tell off the palate. Cheers. Oh, okay. Not a bourbon, not a rye. That brings me right down the alley of a American whiskey, like a light whiskey. Brings back memories of when I first tried a couple bull runs. I don't know offhand in our first sip if this is finished, but this brought me right down a line of some MGP light whiskey. Sometimes it's kind of hard to hide that profile. Uh, I don't know if it's for me or for everybody else, but like light whiskey does have a distinct taste. And on that first sip, that just brought me right down that road of what those light whiskeys taste like. Not super corn forward, but does on the nose now come across like a little bit finished. I would be leaning more towards a wine finished light whiskey. I'm trying to think what was sent. But this does, yeah, bring me down that memory of like tasting light whiskey for the first time. Just super sweet, punchy. Because I haven't had many that weren't barrel proof or cask strength, whatever the way however they do it. But all the ones that I've had have been about 115 proof plus, upwards to, gosh, like 100 and almost 50 for some of like the obtaniums that I've had. But let's go in for another sip. Yeah, this comes across too, yeah, too sweet to be anything outside of a light whiskey for me. It just everything about this reminds me of that profile. If I had to think distillery, I would probably go with MGP. I haven't had many light whiskeys that weren't MGP. Not to say nobody else does them because I know they do, but if this was like competition based, guys, I would be going with MGP American light whiskey. It doesn't drink as hot as some of the obtaniums that I've had. So this would kind of bring me more towards like that bull run in terms of distillery versus actual distillate would be MGP. Distillery, I think I would go with like bull run versus like an obtanium. Being that a lot of the obtaniums I've had were higher proof and hit me with more of a punch. This is a little bit more subdued, comes across a little bit more balanced. I'm not sure if the proof is lower, which it does seem like it's lower. It seems like it's maybe like a 120 proof or even maybe a little below. I'll be surprised if it is like a 130 plus, but there definitely is some age. And a lot of light whiskey does have some decent age to it too, but let's go down a line, right? So age, I would say 14-year proof, 122 MGP in terms of the actual distillate. Light whiskey, I think I mentioned Bull Run as the distillery, and I don't think this one is finished. I don't. Usually, like on the Cabernets and the Pinots, I get a lot more berry, and I'm not getting that on this. So yeah, I would think like a 13, 14-year old MGP light whiskey, not finished, coming out of Bull Run. So what was I drinking, guys? I'm curious. Let's pull it out and see. Oh my God. And I can see this. Have mixed this up a few times, and I know I'm not the only one. And now that I know what it is, I get that. I, yeah. Now that I know what it is, I get it. God, but I got guys. I would have struck out outside of year. I'm not sure the proof. This is a bottle from Mr. Whack himself. So, Jeffrey, I know you're going to watch this video. Let me know what the proof was on this bottle. I'm pretty certain this was yours because I remember you having a single cask um, Foursquare. I forget the brand. I think single cask was the brand. 15-year rum. The handwriting does look a little neater than yours, so I'm not completely positive if it's yours, but if it is, throw it in the comments for me. But guys, this was a Foursquare 15-year rum. I said like 13 to 14-year-old light whiskey. And if you've been on some streams with me, I've confused light whiskey for rum a couple different times, specifically Foursquare rum. Not, I don't think I've actually confused it with any other brand outside of Foursquare, but there's a lot of very, very similar notes that you get on Foursquare that you would get on some light whiskey. I don't know the proof. It's obviously not MGP, but it wasn't any rye or bourbon either. But yeah, that first note, like before even tasting it, guys, kind of like just gave me this like, whoa, wait, what is that? And you can see why I gave that face now. So not really that good on this one. Got the whole distillate wrong, and that shows a lot, right? It is truly blind. Like I don't cheat. Like just want to kind of dive in and see exactly if I can kind of like guess a couple things, but definitely would have got some points on age. I think proof point I probably would have been really, really close to, but outside of that, that probably would have been the only points that I got on this. I gotta kind of pinpoint, maybe drink a couple light whiskeys, mix with a few rums to see if I can kind of really distinguish a certain note that sets them apart. But they do come across really, really similar. Going back to it now still throws me for a loop, guys. Like it noses like an American light whiskey. Really, really interesting. But still a really, really good whiskey. Rum. A really, really good pour, right? Yeah, 15-year Foursquare. You guys know me. I love Foursquare. Kind of got the guys into diving down that rabbit hole as well. And, once you taste it, if you like that profile, and I think if you like even light whiskey, you could probably appreciate some of these rums that they're putting out. Because like I said, I think they taste very, very similar. If you had some light whiskey, you had some Foursquare rum, let me know your thoughts. Like, do you think they taste similar notes, or do you think I'm just going nuts over here on my end? But I do think there's some similarities there. Like I'm going to take one more sip and I'm going to end this off. Yeah, like I can see the rum, but like I said, I can see some light whiskey too. Guys, yeah, really, really good pour. Not sure the cost on this. Some high age Foursquare gets a little pricey, but you're never really gonna go wrong. To be honest, like I may have had one Foursquare bottle that I really didn't care for too much. It was finished in a Zinfandel barrel, and that's like probably one of the only wine finishes that I really don't care for. But outside of that, they pretty much all been like they've been all hitters. I got a good amount. I probably got upwards to 20 different variations of Foursquare, and I can only say one has been not my cup of tea. So that says a lot for the brand, guys. We're gonna end this off. We've been going on for about 15 minutes. You guys have been sticking with me so far. I love it. We're just gonna crack it off, say cheers, and until next Wednesday, guys.